My friends, if you're average, scroll away, because this message isn't for those who have settled with mediocrity. It's for those who feel that tug inside, that quiet, holy unrest that whispers, you were made for more. You see, the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy is to live without purpose, to walk this earth never discovering why you were born. Average people wake up and go through the motions, eat, sleep, work, repeat. But extraordinary people, they decide, they believe. They rise when the world says, stay down. I once met a janitor who swept floors in a small hospital. When I asked him why he worked with such joy, he said, sir, I'm not cleaning rooms, I'm preparing places for healing. That man understood something most never do. Purpose transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Listen to me, you don't need to be rich to be great. You don't need to be famous to be impactful. You don't need a title to be a leader. What you need is vision. When you know where you're going, even your pain becomes a tool. Even your failures become fertilizer for your destiny. Caterpillar doesn't complain when it's trapped in a cocoon. It doesn't call it the end, it calls it transformation. And you, my friend, are in your cocoon season. Don't give up, grow up. What you call pressure, heaven calls preparation. History has never remembered the comfortable. It remembers the courageous. It remembers people like Rosa Parks, who refused to stand when the world demanded her silence. It remembers men like Abraham Lincoln, failed in business, in elections, in love, yet never surrendered his purpose. It remembers mothers who raised nations and teachers who believed in children before the world believed in them. So I ask you, what will the world remember about you? Will they say, he scrolled past his calling? Or will they say, he rose, she stood, they believed, and the world changed? Every generation waits for someone to step forward and say, enough. Enough fear, enough excuses, enough waiting for permission to be powerful. That someone could be you, because inside you is greatness waiting for release. Inside you is an idea, a song, a dream that can change everything. But it will never come to life if you keep scrolling with the crowd. So if you're average, scroll away. But if you're hungry, if you're ready, if something inside you is saying, I was born for more, then stand tall, look life in the eye, and declare, I will not die full of potential. I will die empty, having poured out every gift, every dream, every drop of purpose God placed in me. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original design, your courage, your heart, your faith. So rise up, be bold, be unshakable, because the future doesn't belong to the average. It belongs to those who believe. Most people fear death. They fear the moment their breath stops, their heart rests, and their name fades into silence. But death is not the greatest tragedy. The true tragedy is a man or a woman who walks this earth every single day, breathing, moving, existing, yet never truly living. You see, life isn't measured by the number of years you spend on earth. It's measured by the impact you leave behind. It's not about how long you live, it's about what you live for. There are people buried today who never discovered their reason for being. They died full of dreams never pursued, songs never written, ideas never built, and love never shared. That, my friend, is the real tragedy. Every one of us was born with a purpose, a divine assignment, a calling that only you can fulfill. But most people never find it. They spend their lives chasing comfort instead of calling. They work jobs they hate to buy things they don't need, trying to impress people who don't even notice them. And at the end of the day, when silence fills the room, they feel that emptiness, that quiet ache that says, there must be more than this. Purpose is what gives your pain meaning. It turns your suffering into strength and your trials into testimonies. Without it, even success feels hollow. That's why so many people achieve fame, fortune, status, yet still feel lost. Because purpose cannot be replaced by possessions. You can have everything the world calls success and still be miserable if you don't know why you were born. I remember a story of a young man who worked as a cleaner in a hospital. One day, someone asked him, why do you work so hard? You're just sweeping floors. The man smiled and said, sir, I'm not cleaning floors. I'm preparing places for healing. That man understood something most of the world forgets. Purpose transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's not what you do, it's why you do it. When you live with purpose, even the smallest acts become sacred. Waking up every morning isn't just routine, it's mission. You begin to see yourself as a vessel carrying something the world desperately needs. You stop competing and start contributing. You stop asking, what do I get? And start asking, what do I give? The truth is, the majority of people will never discover their purpose because they're afraid to be still. They drown in distractions, endless scrolling, endless noise, anything to avoid listening to that quiet voice inside that says, you were made for more. Purpose requires silence. It requires reflection. It requires courage to confront who you really are and what you're meant to do. And finding your purpose isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's painful. It often starts in struggle, in the dark seasons where nothing seems to make sense. But it's in those moments that purpose begins to take shape. Just like a seed must die before it grows, sometimes your comfort must die before your calling can live. The greatest tragedy in life isn't that you failed. It's that you never tried. It isn't that you fell. It's that you never got up. You were designed for a reason, built with intention, crafted by purpose itself. You have something inside you that this world needs. But if you never discover it, if you never develop it, if you never deliver it, then the world loses something irreplaceable. There's a reason why people who live on purpose seem to glow differently. It's because purpose gives you energy that sleep can't give. It gives you joy that money can't buy. It gives you peace that applause can't replace. When you walk in your purpose, you stop chasing success. Success starts chasing you. Every morning when you wake up, ask yourself, am I living or just existing? Because existence is easy. It requires no effort, no vision, no belief. But living with purpose demands courage. It demands that you stop settling for average, that you stop hiding behind fear, and that you start moving toward the life you were meant to live. Purpose is not found in comfort. It's revealed in conviction. It's discovered when you dare to believe that your life has meaning beyond your mistakes, beyond your past, beyond what people said about you. Your pain, your experiences, your failures, all of them are pieces of the puzzle that lead you to your purpose. When you find it, something shifts inside. You stop needing validation. You stop looking for shortcuts. You begin to understand that your life isn't random, it's intentional. You are not here by accident. You are here on assignment. And that's why living without purpose is the greatest tragedy. Because it means walking through life blind to your own greatness. It means dying full, when you were meant to die empty, having poured out every gift, every dream, every drop of potential that was placed within you. Greatness has never belonged to those with the biggest wallets. It has always belonged to those with the biggest vision. You see, money can buy comfort, but it can never buy purpose. Wealth can open doors, but only vision can tell you which doors to walk through. Most people think to make a difference, they need resources, connections, or privilege. But the truth is, what you need is a reason, a vision that burns so deeply inside you that it keeps you awake at night. Vision is what turns ordinary people into world changers. It's what separates those who exist from those who lead. Every great achievement began not with money, but with an idea, a dream that refused to die. Think of the people who shaped the world. They didn't start rich. They started with a picture in their mind, a belief in something that didn't exist yet. The Wright brothers had no funding, no investors, no powerful names behind them, but they had a vision to fly. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before light filled the room, but his vision refused to flicker out. That's the power of vision. It gives you eyes when the world sees nothing. Money runs out, but vision creates more. You can lose everything you own and still rise again if your vision is alive. Because vision isn't something you hold in your hands. It's something you hold in your heart. It's not a bank account, it's a mindset. Visionaries see possibilities where others see problems. They see opportunity in obstacles, and they build bridges where others see walls. The reason most people never experience greatness is because they confuse vision with sight. Sight is what you see with your eyes. Vision is what you see with your mind. Sight shows you your current reality. Vision shows you what's possible. And when vision becomes clear, even your circumstances start to bow before it. There's a story of a young boy who lived in a poor neighborhood. He used to draw buildings in the dirt because his family couldn't afford paper. Years later, that same boy became one of the greatest architects in his country. He once said, "I saw the buildings long before anyone paid me to design them." That's what vision does. It lets you see the finish line before the race even begins. But vision demands faith, because it often speaks louder when nothing around you makes sense. It will call you to move before you're ready, to believe before you see. People will doubt you. They'll call you crazy. They'll tell you to be realistic. But vision isn't realistic, it's prophetic. It shows you what could be, not what is. And sometimes the reason life strips you of comfort is because God wants to teach you to depend on vision, not on resources. When you have vision, you can start with nothing and still end up with everything you need, because vision attracts provision. When your purpose is clear, doors begin to open, people begin to appear, and opportunities begin to align. You don't need money to dream. You need courage to start. You need persistence to continue. You need faith to endure. Too many people sit and wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect resources, but perfection never comes. Vision thrives not in perfection, but in persistence. You move forward one step at a time, one day at a time, trusting that the path will unfold as you walk it. Every great dreamer faces the same test, the test of starting small. Don't despise small beginnings. Every oak tree was once a seed buried in the dirt. Every skyscraper started as a line on a piece of paper. Every movement started as a whisper in someone's spirit. Greatness isn't born fully grown. It's built through consistency, belief, and vision that refuses to die. When you have vision, you stop comparing your journey to others. You stop measuring your success by someone else's timeline. Because vision gives you focus. It teaches you that you're not running someone else's race. You're running your own. And when your eyes are fixed on your purpose, jealousy fades and discipline takes its place. Vision also gives you resilience. When you're working towards something bigger than yourself, you can endure almost anything. Setbacks don't stop you, they sharpen you. Rejection doesn't break you, it redirects you. Because vision keeps your heart anchored in hope. It reminds you that what you see now is temporary, but what you believe in is eternal. So don't let your bank balance define your worth. Don't let your background limit your future. Don't let your lack of resources silence your vision, because history doesn't remember the ones who had everything. It remembers the ones who used what they had. Difference between those who dream and those who achieve isn't money, it's clarity. It's the decision to see beyond what's visible, to believe when it's impossible, and to move when it's uncomfortable. You don't need to be rich to be great. You need a vision that's richer than your excuses. A vision so powerful that it wakes you up with purpose and sends you to sleep with peace. A vision that pulls you forward when life pushes you back. A vision that reminds you that greatness was never about what you possess. It was always about what you pursue. There are moments in life when it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders. Everything seems to fall apart. Nothing goes as planned, and you start to wonder if life is punishing you. But what if it's not punishment? What if it's preparation? What if the very pressure that feels like it's breaking you is actually shaping you into who you were meant to become? You see, diamonds don't form in comfort. They form under pressure. Gold isn't purified in cool air, it's refined by fire. And strong souls, the ones that shine the brightest, are forged in seasons of struggle. Pressure has a way of revealing who you really are. It exposes weakness, reveals strength, and forces you to grow into the person your destiny requires. Every person you admire today, every leader, every achiever, every visionary has faced moments of crushing weight. They've cried in silence, questioned their path, and wondered if they could keep going. But the difference between those who rise and those who quit is this: the ones who rise understand that pain has purpose. They realize that pressure doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to develop you. Think about the seed planted in the soil. It's buried, covered in darkness, pressed by the weight of the earth. But that pressure isn't there to suffocate it. It's there to push it toward growth. Without that resistance, the seed would never break open. It would never become what it was designed to be. And that's exactly what happens in your life. When life presses down, it's not burying you, it's planting you. Something inside you is about to grow. Sometimes you pray for strength, and God doesn't hand it to you. He hands you a situation that demands it. You ask for patience, and life gives you delay. You ask for courage, and fear shows up at your door. You ask for wisdom. Confusion forces you to think deeper. That's how growth works. Heaven never wastes pain. Every trial is training. Every setback is a strategy. Every disappointment is discipline in disguise. Pressure teaches you to trust. When everything is stripped away and you're left standing with nothing but faith, that's when you discover who you truly depend on. Pressure teaches you to stop relying on what's outside and start building what's inside. It strips away arrogance, comfort, and fear until all that remains is strength, focus, and character. There's a kind of power that only pressure can produce, the kind that can't be learned in peace. Because comfort makes you soft, Challenges make you strong. When you face trials, you're not being punished. You're being positioned. Positioned for something greater, something that demands the version of you that only pressure can create. I remember hearing about a young athlete who was told he wasn't good enough to play professionally. He could have quit, but he didn't. He woke up earlier than everyone else, trained longer than everyone else, and studied harder than everyone else. Years later, he became one of the best in his field. When they asked him how he did it, he said, "I turned my pressure into power." That's what champions do. They don't run from pressure, they use it. Sometimes the very thing you're praying to escape is the thing that's equipping you for the future you've been praying for. That difficult boss, that delayed opportunity, that painful heartbreak, they are all shaping your character. Because before destiny promotes you, it will test you. Before you walk through the open door, you must be strong enough to handle what's on the other side. Pressure is proof that something valuable is inside you. Nobody presses coal unless they want a diamond. Nobody heats metal unless they want it to be unbreakable. So if life feels heavy right now, it's not a sign of your weakness. It's a sign of your potential. The greater the pressure, the greater the promise that follows. And in those moments when you want to quit, when it feels too heavy to carry, remember this: even mountains are formed through pressure. The earth itself bends and breaks before it creates beauty. You too are in that same process. What looks like breaking is actually becoming. What feels like loss is actually preparation for something you can't yet see. Pressure will make you question your worth, but it's often the sign that heaven is investing in your growth. You're not being crushed. You're being crafted. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Because destiny never gives promotion without proving first. The storm doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to reveal that you were built to survive it. So the next time life tightens its grip and you feel like you can't breathe, take a moment and remind yourself this is not the end. This is the making of you. What you call pressure, heaven calls preparation. Most people will scroll. They'll hear words like purpose, discipline, greatness, and they'll move on because average minds get uncomfortable when they're confronted with truth. Average minds want comfort, not conviction. They want entertainment, not transformation. But those who are hungry, those who feel that spark deep in their chest that says there's more to my life than this, they stop scrolling, they listen, they rise. If you're one of them, this is for you. Because the world is filled with people who settle for average. They settle for doing just enough to get by. They settle for dreams that fit inside their fear. They settle for a life that's safe, predictable, ordinary. And yet, every night, something inside them whispers, you were meant for more. Average is easy. It's comfortable. It never challenges you, never stretches you, never asks you to sacrifice. But here's the truth. You cannot be great and be comfortable at the same time. Greatness demands discomfort. It demands hunger. It demands that you keep pushing, even when it hurts, even when no one sees you, even when you doubt yourself. Because the ones who make it aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refuse to quit. If you're average, you'll spend your days chasing distractions. You'll scroll through other people's success stories, comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 20. You'll convince yourself that you'll start someday. But someday never comes, because average people live in someday. The extraordinary live in today. There's a moment in every life where you have to choose, do I keep playing small or do I rise up and demand more of myself? The choice is never about talent. It's about hunger. Talent might get you noticed, but hunger keeps you moving when no one is clapping. Hunger makes you study when others sleep, practice when others party, and believe when others doubt. Hunger is the fuel of greatness. Think about it. Every story that inspires you, every hero you admire, every success that moves you, all of it came from someone who refused to be average. They faced rejection, failure, and ridicule. They were told they weren't enough. But they believed anyway. They rose anyway. They acted anyway. Because hunger doesn't need permission. It just needs a reason. If you're hungry for more, you have to stop waiting for motivation. You'll never feel ready. The perfect time doesn't exist. You have to move now. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't opportunity. It's decision. The decision to stop scrolling, stop talking, stop wishing, and start doing. Average people talk about dreams. Hungry people chase them. Average people make excuses. Hungry people make progress. Average people complain about what they lack. Hungry people use what they have. Because hunger makes you resourceful. When you're truly hungry, you stop looking for reasons it won't work and start finding ways it will. And let me tell you something powerful. Nobody is born hungry. Hunger is built. It's developed through struggle, through loss, through pain. The times you felt overlooked, the moments you were told you're not enough, the seasons when you had to fight for every inch. That's where hunger is born. You learn to fight differently when you've had to survive without applause. You learn to move with purpose when no one believes in you but you. So if you're listening right now and something inside you is stirring, that's your hunger waking up. Don't silence it. Don't drown it in comfort. Feed it. Let it push you out of your limits, because hunger will take you places talent never could. It will open doors that fear tries to keep shut. The truth is, the world doesn't need more average minds. It needs more believers. People who believe in something greater than the pain they've endured. People who believe that every setback was simply preparation for a comeback. People who believe that no matter how small the start, greatness can grow from it. If you're hungry for more, you have to rise even when your legs shake. You have to believe even when doubt screams louder than hope. You have to show up even when no one is watching, because it's in those unseen moments that destiny is shaped. The work you do in silence will speak for you when the time is right. So no, this isn't for everyone. Some will scroll past, searching for the next distraction, but a few, the ones who feel this deep, will stop. They'll look in the mirror and say, I refuse to be average. I'm ready to rise. And when they do, everything begins to change, because once you decide that average is no longer enough, the world starts to open up in ways you never imagined. The future has never belonged to the doubters, the complainers, or the ones who wait for permission to move. The future belongs to the believers, the ones who dare to see light when the world only sees darkness, the ones who look at impossibility and still whisper, I will try, because belief is the seed of every great change the world has ever known. Belief is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what turns vision into victory. And yet, in every generation, there are more people who doubt than those who believe. They doubt themselves. They doubt their gifts. They doubt their future. They live trapped by what they can see instead of what they can imagine. But belief is not about sight. It's about faith. It's choosing to trust in something before it's visible. It's looking at the dry ground and still expecting rain. Average people need proof before they believe. Extraordinary people believe before they see proof. That's why they build companies out of ideas, movements out of words, and legacies out of moments of courage. Belief is the bridge between your potential and your reality. Without it, your dream stays a dream. With it, even the smallest step can start a revolution. Think about it. Every invention, every breakthrough, every transformation began with someone who refused to stop believing. When people said it couldn't be done, they didn't listen. When they failed, they tried again. When doors closed, they built their own. Believers don't quit because they understand something powerful. Failure doesn't mean the end, it means education. Every setback becomes a lesson, every loss becomes preparation. But belief isn't loud. It's not always the shout of confidence you show the world. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a whisper that says, keep going, when everything in you wants to give up. Sometimes it's getting up one more time after falling again and again. Because real belief isn't proven in comfort, it's proven in crisis. And the truth is, belief doesn't start big. Starts as a tiny thought, a spark that says, maybe I can. That thought becomes a decision. That decision becomes an action. And that action, repeated day after day, becomes destiny. It's not about how much faith you start with. It's about what you do with the little you have. Because belief grows through movement. When you act on it, it multiplies. You can have the greatest plans, the most detailed goals, but without belief, nothing comes to life. Belief gives motion to your vision. It gives courage to your fear. It gives strength to your weakness. It's the invisible force that tells your heart, try again. Look at the stories that changed the world. They weren't written by those who had perfect circumstances. They were written by those who had unshakable belief. People who believed when there was no reason to. People who believed when they were laughed at, ignored, and doubted. Belief makes you unstoppable because it shifts the focus from what you lack to what you can become. The danger of being average is not that you don't have potential, it's that you stop believing you do. Average people let failure define them. Believers let failure refine them. Average people see obstacles as the end. Believers see them as instruction. The world is full of people with talent, intelligence, and opportunity, but the ones who rise are those who believe in enough to act, even when it's uncomfortable. Belief changes how you walk. It changes how you speak, how you see, how you respond. You stop waiting for others to validate you because your conviction becomes louder than their criticism. You start seeing purpose in pain, meaning in mistakes, strength in seasons of struggle. Belief teaches you to see through the lens of destiny, not difficulty. When you truly believe, you stop living by what's possible. You start living by what's promised. You begin to understand that the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't luck, it's belief. Every dream that becomes reality starts with someone who believed when it was hardest to believe. And every dream that dies does so because someone stopped believing too soon. Belief is contagious. When you carry it, people around you start to see differently. They see courage where they once saw fear. They see opportunity where they once saw limitations. Belief doesn't just change your life, it changes everyone you touch. Because belief carries energy, it moves people, it awakens them. There's something powerful about a person who truly believes in their purpose. You can't intimidate them, you can't discourage them, and you can't stop them. Because they've already decided that their future is greater than their fear. They understand that their destiny isn't built by chance, it's built by choice. And the first choice is always belief. The future doesn't belong to those who wait to feel ready. It belongs to those who believe they already are. It doesn't belong to the ones who play safe. It belongs to the ones who take risks fueled by conviction. Because when you believe, truly believe, you stop being average. You stop existing. You start becoming. You've heard the message. You've felt the truth in every word. And now the choice is yours. You can scroll away, just like everyone else, pretending you didn't hear the call inside you. Or you can stand up and say, I'm done being average. You were not created to blend in. You were not designed to settle. There is greatness inside you that's been waiting quietly for this moment, the moment you decide to stop making excuses and start moving in faith. The world is filled with people who live and die without ever meeting their potential. They talk about what they could have done, what they might have been, and what they once dreamed of. But you still have breath in your lungs. That means you still have purpose. That means you still have time to build, to rise, to believe again. Maybe life has pressed you. Maybe you've walked through pain that few could understand. Maybe you've failed more times than you can count. But what if every one of those moments wasn't breaking you? It was building you. What if the pressure you felt was heaven preparing you for everything you prayed for? You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be famous. You don't need anyone's permission. All you need is vision. A vision so clear that it silences your fear. You need belief so strong that even when the storm comes, you still whisper, I will not quit. The future will not wait for those who hesitate. It belongs to those who believe when belief feels impossible. It belongs to those who are hungry for change, willing to be stretched, and bold enough to stand when others sit. So rise, not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Rise now, rise with faith. Rise with courage, rise with purpose, because average ends the moment you decide to believe. And once you do, the world will never be the same again.